Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, the Tolkien professor, joining you always, accompanied by my friend Gryfflet. Uh-oh, hang on a second. Hang on, getting feedback here. Oh, dear. Wait a second. Sorry, I forgot I was listening to Cord, so I unmuted my Twitch, which is always a mistake. Okay, there we go. Phew, get my own feedback there for a second. All right. Okay, welcome back. Well, I say welcome back. I'm the one who's back. Many of you guys never left. So I'm back from my Thanksgiving break and back home, excited to be back with you guys this afternoon. I've been missing Gryfflet and missing Lotro. I'm in the middle of a really, really enormously busy stretch of my year. So I have less time to play Lotro than I've ever had. So I'm really excited to be back in the game, even just for a little bit here this afternoon. And this is especially cool because Gryfflet is in a place where I never actually completed anything. I did a little bit of exploring, but I never completed anything because I was soloing. And that is, of course, here in the Limlight Gorges in the Great River. So Gryfflet is, as you can see, kind of hiding himself here under the eaves of this house. But Gryfflet, come on, it's time to get things together here. So there was a boss troll or something I was supposed to go fight, which I think Gryfflet can handle it. Right? I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? Oh wait, burglars are getting an update? They'll get a thrown dagger? No way. They're giving burglars an honest-to-God missile attack? Oh, wow. That would be amazing. Oh, hey. Kiriana's here. How about that? Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, cool. All right, hey, that's pretty neat. I had no idea of that. Melindred, what's the worst thing that can happen is always, it's one of my favorite expressions. Okay, so I think up on that hill is where let's see, how far away is my healer? Oh, she's pretty close. I can take off. All right, so we're going to go and rest. There's somebody who needs to be rescued. Okay, there's so many things. Oh, and Gomp. Here. Oh, hey, look, there's a guy. I'm going to go around him. I don't need to fight him again. Oh, there she is. She found me. Uh-oh. He wants to fight me, though, doesn't he? No problem. Yeah, come over here and say that, you marauding stone troll. Besides, I have a kindly feeling in my heart for stone trolls today, because this past week, in Exploring the Lord of the Rings, we just did our Stone Troll sing-along, which was so much fun. I was really excited about that. So for those of you who don't know, Exploring the Lord of the Rings is the open class I do every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. On the Signum Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SignumU. And, oh, come on, that's as far back as you can knock me? I've been knocked back further than that by, dwarves and, I don't know what, deer and that kind of thing. Anyhow, oh, yeah, I see. You try to give it another shot, right? But, oh, you're just going to give me some positional damage. You'll soon regret that from the severe scratches I'm about to place in your Achilles tendon, my friend. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, I can see how keenly you are already regretting your decision to turn your back on the mighty Gryfflet. But anyway, as I was saying, so Tuesday nights, Exploring the Lord of the Rings. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I thought. I seem to be limping, but I suppose I'll recover eventually. Anyhow, so what was I saying? Tuesday nights. So Tuesday nights, I'm doing Exploring the Lord of the Rings, where we are going through the Lord of the Rings in more detail than you will ever go through the Lord of the Rings in your entire life. Promise. It's almost not possible. We spent over an hour on two paragraphs this past week, for instance. So let's see. So where is the... Oh, there he is, Gamp. No, it's not Gamp. So the GH at the beginning of his name, you know how GH is pronounced in the Black speech? It is the most fun consonant to say. Though I have to say, for my money, the most difficult consonant to utter. We don't do it in English or anything even vaguely like it. But you know the syllable, or consonant rather, that nice consonant that we don't get in English, but they have in so many other cooler languages, right? Well, we don't get that, but so the GH is not the GH is the voiced version of so you have to go that's a consonant, right? So his name would be pronounced Hump, actually. And come on, how much fun is that, right? I mean, just to be able to say Hump. That's a word. Anyway, so cool. So come over here, Hump. Though I have to say, don't try saying that if you have a sore throat. It doesn't work very well. Fortunately, my throat's in good shape, though it soon won't be if I carry on saying this dude's name. Anyway. Okay, so let's see. Oh, he's only got 250,000 morale points. That's right. He, however, has the guts to face me. But let me not get distracted from what I was saying. So Tuesday nights. This Tuesday night was super special because we got to Sam's troll song in the troll shot. So when he is standing by the stone statues of Bilbo's stone trolls from Chapter 2 of The Hobbit, and he sings his song, his troll song. Okay, I should probably get ready to actually execute these fellowship maneuvers since I'm kind of initiating them, right? But anyway, so we got to that song, and so we did the troll song sing-along. So I played, because we actually have a surviving recording of J.R.R. Tolkien singing that song, like with the melody that he intended that song to be sung to, which is a traditional English folk song. And it's clearly, like, that song is clearly a pub song, which really kind of helps to make sense of a lot of it, which I was confused by for a long time because I didn't really get that element of it. So, like, how in the troll song in the Fellowship of the Ring, where like in every stanza there's that like weird line which is like done by Gumby, right? And that's the whole line, and you're like, what the heck is going on there, and how do I read that aloud? It's because you're not supposed to just read it, you're supposed to sing it, right? So that's the bit of the song where like all the people in the other guests in the pub of like at varying degrees of inebriation join in. Right, so that's like their line where they get to just kind of, and like that's why the rhymes are nonsensical, because like why the words are often nonsensical, because you can say anything, it doesn't matter. So anyhow, yeah. So we did our sing along. So we listened to Tolkien's singing of that song, and then we sang along with him because the troll song is so much fun. To listen to. A fox went out. Hey, come on now. That was rude. He just like killed me and stuff. He was just worried because we were winning. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, he kind of like one-shotted me right there, didn't he? I mean, he kind of was holding back for a little bit, and then But yes, a fox went out is the tomb, Harnuth, that it's set to. That's the name of the traditional English folk song that it's meant to be sung to. Oh, look at that! Look how multi-talented Kiriana is. Hey there. Okay. Well, you take that and some of this. You think I'm going to let you get away with that easily? You're wrong. You're going to so deeply regret your incidental slaying of my person. Okay, there goes Hump. Whoa! Didn't back up quite in time. Oh, there's a dead prospector over here. Hang on. Dead prospector. Dead prospector sounds like a sort of a Monty Python skit. There's a dead prospector on the landing. Okay, let's see. A fragment of map, huh? Okay. And was he holding someone prisoner? No, it was just the map thing. Oh, and he's got a cow. Oh dear. I wonder whose cow that was. I didn't see any cattle. What diocese does he fill? It's tattooed on the back of his neck. Anyway, okay. So I confess to having some sort of warm and friendly feelings for trolls now. But now that I've encountered more of the size of the trolls in this area, these bits of ruin are making more sense to me. Because these chunks of ruin, random elvish-looking ruins lying around. It kind of looked like something that a troll might have just like hauled off and carried away. So I think that's probably what happened, or just like chucked randomly. Okay, hang on, let's see. So where are we going? We're going to, okay, so he's down here. There's nothing up in the direction that I'm pointing. He's down over here. Okay, all right. So I will go back down then. Okay, I think I'm just going to go this way. Whee! Let's take the direct route because burglar. Okay, so let's go find Gryfflet. Is he the dwarf or the prospector? I've gotten my quests all mixed up now. I can't remember which one is which. Okay. JJ says it's tough to know when I'm talking about a topic and when I'm addressing someone by Twitch stream name. It is true. Oh, is this one of these guys who's being held captive by a malicious tree? Yeah, it is, isn't it? So I'd like to just come up and rescue him privily, but I think I'm going to be forced to combat a tree in order to do that. There he is. All right. So we'll fight another tree. That's fine. Okay, cool. Whoa. Am I stunned? I am stunned. Couldn't even see myself because of the tree. I know, all these trees are still angry at Gryfflet for his early and never to be forgotten failure. Oh, well. Hey, let's do a fellowship maneuver. Won't that be fun? Yay. Whoa. Is he running away? Oh, I thought we had him on the run there for a second. You don't usually get trees on the run. That was going to be something to see. Okay. So, hey, let me get to a lore question while I'm fighting random horns. Okay, and here's one I need clarification on. Ethelot, I think you're here today. So you had asked before, you had said, what advice would I give to a preteen child who has read most of the Tolkien things on what to read next Tolkien? Okay. So okay, I think I need a little bit more information. When you say most Tolkien things, okay, so someone who has read, like The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, I would say read the Silmarillion next, right? But obviously you've read the Silmarillion. So if you've, first of all, actually on a sort of side note here, would you come back over here? Stop trying to get away. If you've read the history of The Hobbit, I don't know why you don't want to read the History of Middle-earth series. The History of Middle-earth series is longer, obviously. I mean, there are more volumes to it than there are in the... He's running away again. You shan't escape, tree! It's the History of Middle-earth is longer, but it's not... I mean, if you've read the History of the Hobbit, there's nothing in the History of Middle-earth that's gonna, that should intimidate you, because the History of the Hobbit is actually longer and more detailed than any volume of the History of Middle-earth. I think I would actually have, if I'd written it, I would have put less in it. I mean, if I'd written it, I would have done a less good job than John Ratliff, who did wonderfully, and it's way better than I could do, certainly, of that kind of thing. He is so much better at that kind of archival work and textual editing than I am. But again, I would have made it a little shorter, I think. So whatever. The point is, there's plenty. There's lots of stuff in it. The trees are coming for us all. Yeah, maybe you should go back and tell your hard to convince friend about that. Okay, and I think there are more dwarves I'm meant to rescue. Let's just follow my next quest arrow, because why not? So I'm not sure what other Tolkien you've read. So somebody who has read The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and The Silmarillion only, and says, what should I read next? My recommendation would be the most recent of the Christopher Tolkien publications. That is the sort of the sound. I would say start with The Children of Húrin, and then oh, there he is. Time to fight another tree. I would say start with The Children of Húrin, and then Beren and Luthien and the Fall of Gondolin, just to get a sense of those broader stories, because those are definitely the most important things. And again, like once you've gone there, right, you sort of might as well do the history of Middle Earth. But actually, before doing the history, so after doing those other big stories, Unfinished Tales, definitely Unfinished Tales, because Unfinished Tales is especially for Lord of the Rings fans, Unfinished Tales is going to be the most sort of high yield thing that you're going to read, because it contains a great deal of like really cool additional information or like background stories that you don't get. Like the story of the hunt for the ring, like what were the Black Riders doing, right? And how did they, go about finding the information that they found, and what was going on with them? Who is the squint-eyed southerner, right, at Bree, and all that stuff. Plus, like, really cool stories, like the story of Isildur in the Battle of the Gladden Fields, and learning more about the Númenóreans, like the Gondorians, the old Númenóreans at the beginning of the Third Age, even not counting the Second Age Númenor stuff. The history of Galadriel and Celeborn is complicated, but again, some pretty neat stuff that we learned there. Anyway, so there's definitely and the Battle of the Fords of Isen. Oh man, that is one of my favorite parts of Unfinished Tales. So yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, Ethelwald, you can do worse than read Unfinished Tales before the Silmarillion. Again, if what you're looking, in some ways actually, it might help to sort of stave off disappointment that many people experience. I know I did when I was young reading this stuff for the first time. When I first picked up the Silmarillion, you see, what I really wanted was more Lord of the Rings, right? And that's what I was looking for, and that's what I was hoping for, and I did not get it, of course, from the Silmarillion, because the Silmarillion was, quite different. So, anyway, reading Unfinished Tales, like to some extent, Unfinished Tales was one of the kinds of things that I really wanted, right? To get more of the stories, of the backstory of the stuff that I really loved. That was kind of much cooler. Yeah. Anyway, so Ethelwald, like, what haven't you read then, right? Would be my question. How much of the non-Middle Earth stuff have you read? Would be one of the sort of the next questions. Obviously, the majority of Tolkien's fiction is Middle Earth stuff. But have you read? Do you have like the volume? What's it called? Tales from the Perilous Realm, which is a really good collection of his non-Middle Earth stuff. That would be a really good place to start with the non-Middle Earth things. Hey, Darfy. Okay, yeah, no problem. You're rescued too. And now, Gank. Oh, what an unfortunate name. Hang on a second. Oh, that's not a person. Okay. Having defeated Hump, I must now defeat Gonk. In his lair, Catron has found a treasure chest. Okay. And search for Girth's remains. Okay, so we get another troll boss. Sure. All right, no problem. Troll boss. Cool. So Ethelwald, I would need to know about that. Leaf by Niggle, Dyruin. Yeah, that of course is in Hallowed Ruins. Hallowed Ruins? Really? They're hallowed? In what sense and by whom? And the ruins themselves are hallowed, or are they hallowed of, like, the ruins of a hallowed thing? Oh man, now I need to know the story behind that. Is this Gunk? And if I fight him this way, how far can he knock me down the mountain? Hey, Gunk, hang on. I'm going to stand on this side of you if it's all the same to you. Yeah. Okay. Hey, no. Okay, fine. Let's see if you succeed in one-shotting me like your friend. Ooh. I don't remember seeing a skull like that just lying on the ground very often. Anyway, okay. But now the question, Catriona, you were talking about your 11-year-old niece. It's tricky, you know. There's the difficult thing is there's no absolute rule. I mean, I've known kids who read The Lord of the Rings at a very young age and loved it. You know, so that is certainly a very possible thing. You know, I don't want to, you know, rule that out or sort of question that. You can't pass any, you know, any laws or rules about this kind of stuff. I would definitely say, like, there's no question in my mind that, you know, The Hobbit, you know, and any 11-year-old should be fine with The Hobbit. The Lord of the Rings, I don't know. In some ways, I almost want to say of The Lord of the Rings the same kind of thing that Tolkien used to say about fairy stories, you know, about fairy tales. When he was talking about fairy tales and children, on fairy story, about the, you know, sort of the relationship between fairy stories and children, and he, you know, one of the points that he was making is that people often assume that, like, well, all kids like fairy tales, right? It's like a childhood thing, so you know, it should be a thing. And he was saying that he saw no connection, no special connection between fairy tales and childhood. He's like, some children really like fairy tales and some don't, just like some adults like fairy tales and some don't. And honestly, I find that same thing when we're talking about The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, so that makes it really difficult to judge, you know, when is a good time to read it with kids, because some are gonna like it, are gonna love it and really be drawn to it at an early age, and some won't be drawn to it at any age, you know. So there's another big troll in between us here. No, oh, it's a tree. Okay, right. Oh, did he? Seriously? He aggroed us from there? A stalking Huorn. I love it. Well, he managed to sneak up on us, I guess. So. Anyway, yeah. So this is why I always find it hard, because I've talked to a lot of people. You know, I've talked to a lot of people about this question, and I've heard a lot of stories, both from people who have told me stories about when they first read it as kids and when they first read it with their parents, and from parents who have, you know, either thought about or have talked about reading it with their own kids. And you know, what I have found, you know, honestly in practice, is so wide that it's really hard for me to make a general recommendation. But it's definitely worth giving a shot. I mean, you know, I'm reading The Lord of the Rings now with Matthias, my 10-year-old, and, you know, we've read The Hobbit. Of course, he's read the Silmarillion too, because, you know, again, he's like Tolkien professor's kid, right? So, you know, it's like family business, but whatever. Anyhow, so I would definitely give it a shot and just see if she's in. But if she's not, like, into it, if she's having a hard time with it, don't worry about it. Don't push it. Is the main thing that I would say. Yeah. That's exactly, as several of you are you know, relating stories of, you know, reading both, all of them when you were in single digits and stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's so it works that way with some kids, and it just doesn't work that way with other kids. That's kind of what I found. Yeah, I saw a couple of people talking about Narnia. Narnia is much easier for younger kids. Lewis was much better at writing for children, like books intended to be read by children. in general, I think, than Tolkien was. I mean, Tolkien only attempted it a couple times. There are really only 3 of his books that I can think of off the top of my head that he really intended for a juvenile audience. And those are The Hobbit, not Smith, sorry, Farmer, Giles of Ham, and Rover Random. But most of them are not. Most of them are not designed for children, whereas Lewis was targeting children, also very explicitly for the Chronicles of Narnia. I also read Narnia when I was 7 and absolutely loved them and read them and reread them. I'd probably read the Chronicles of Narnia 10 times by the time I was like 9. So the Father Christmas letters, well, yes. Of course, the Father Christmas letters weren't really a book that he wrote, right? So yeah, obviously the Father Christmas letters had an intended juvenile audience, but that's a little bit different. How long was the publishing wait between The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and The Last Battle? Not that long. Lewis pumped those books out. The Narnia books came out pretty quickly, at least once a year, I think sooner. Lewis did not take long to write the Narnia books, and I think it was not great for Tolkien's self-confidence to have a friend who was just like churning out books like Lewis did. Yeah, cool. Nice. Awesome. Just sort of scanning some comments here. All right. What brings us here? Okay, so I found your prospector's map. So I don't remember where we were going with this quest. It's not truly complete. You just finished your initial survey. Okay.
Will you aid the Rohirrim?
Okay, so you're unable to finish taking your samples from the various areas of the gorge to judge their value. Boy, this sounds like a high-impact, world-changing quest line here. If I can... do you want me to finish your geological survey? Okay. And quite valuable to the right sort of folk. Who are the right sort of folk? Anyway. It was the sound of our picks that brought the trolls down upon us. We'd expected some trouble. Okay. Right. Search for a deep vein of copper ore. What, and I don't get copper ore as a prize? Seriously? Shouldn't a quest reward be that I get, like, a bunch of copper? Okay. I guess I'll pursue this because who knows when I'll ever get a chance to do these quests again. So, and I've never done them before. And I'm a completionist, so now I can say I've done the Limlight Gorge, so that'll really help. Okay, so let's see. So where am I going next? There? Is there still another... Is Dolmund, is he one of the dwarves? Yes. Okay. Ah, that's up in the north. I was wondering what was. Okay. And what's the forest roots? Oh, that's the elf one. Okay, fine. That's good. All right. Well, since we're up here with trolls, since we're playing with trolls anyway, let's go find some copper ore. That'll be fun. Okay. So you're wondering whether to read some of the academic stuff. Oh. Here's a black ore vein. Okay, so trolls are going to come assault me as soon as I do this, presumably. No? Really? Okay. I expected to be assaulted every time I took out my pickaxe here. You could totally read some academic stuff. Yeah, that'd be good. If you wanted to read my Hobbit book, you could totally do that. I would strongly recommend Tom Shippey's books, the Author of the Century book and the Road to Middle-earth, both just, some of the fundamental classics of Tolkien criticism. So Yeah. Where am I? Huh. Oh man, that's a big spider. So I found all the ore and it was worthless? Oh wait, no, here's one over here. Did I do that one? No. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Well, my prospecting has been interrupted by what? A band of angry trolls? I only see one angry troll. And he doesn't seem to be angry at me. Oh, no, here he comes. There we go. There's a band. Great. Hey, come over here. I'm attacking you. Don't you notice me over here? Right? I might be able to reach your calf. And I bet that would be painful. Hey, come on. Stop picking on my healer, would you please? Gryfflet, not a good tank, turns out. Yeah. Would help if I could find my cursor. Okay. Good. Hey, good, look at that, we killed one of them. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, Ethelwyn, you could totally read some of the academic stuff. Have you read The Fall of Arthur? That's really fun. I really like The Fall of Arthur. You said you hadn't read Sigurd. Sigurd's tough. I want to think carefully before I say this, but I think I would say that The Legend of Sigurd and Gudrun is the most where was I? Is this it? I think it's the most difficult to get into of all of the published Tolkien works, like of all the things that Tolkien did. In some ways, it's oh, now for iron, really? Okay, where? Way down over there. Okay. I find it really it's hard to appreciate if you don't already really know the Sigurd and Gudrun story. So if you haven't read, the Volsunga saga and other things that it was based on, it's hard to get into as a standalone book. I found that anyway. It was very challenging in that way. Okay. My goal is to fight no more trolls than are necessary. Darn it. I have failed in my quest. Well, let's see. Can I get away from this guy? Will he follow me all the way to the iron ore? Oh. Come on, carry on, we're kiting him. No, we're not. Fine, we're fighting trolls. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Peter Ripsky, don't even get me started on that. Yes. It is one of... I'm pretty flexible about a lot of things. But I get seriously vehement and annoyed about the reorganization of the Chronicles of Narnia. The reorganization of the Chronicles of Narnia makes utter nonsense out of especially The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and ruins about 60% of the delight of The Magician's Nephew. Reading The Magician's Nephew first ruins The Magician's Nephew, and it makes nonsense out of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Parts, anyway, of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You can retcon it, but you have to do a heck of a lot of retconning on your own in order to make that happen. It's the stupidest idea. And I know there are always people who are like, but didn't C.S. Lewis approve it? I don't care if C.S. Lewis approved it. If C.S. Lewis approved it, it's the dumbest thing he ever did in his life. And I mean that. Okay, there are one or two more dumb things that he did. But seriously, very, very few dumber things he ever did in his entire life than that. And there's no one single thing that makes me question C.S. Lewis's literary judgment more than the idea that he would have approved the reorganization of the Chronicles of Narnia. Absolutely absurd. Book 1 of the Chronicles of Narnia is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Book 2 is Prince Caspian. Book 3 is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Book 4 is The Silver Chair. Book 5 is The Horse and His Boy. Book 6 is The Magician's Nephew. And Book 7 is The Last Battle. The Magician's Nephew is the prequel of the series, not book 1 of the series, not book 1 of the series. Seriously, no, I would fight with C.S. Lewis himself. Like if someday in heaven I meet Jack, I will fight with him about the chronological order of the Chronicles of Narnia. I would absolutely go out. There are very few things that I would go after C.S. Lewis about, but I am totally ready to throw down with C.S. Lewis about the order of the Chronicles of Narnia if it comes to that. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. It's my little rant. But seriously, like it annoys me so much. I rearrange them on bookshelves in bookstores when I see them. Like, I'll seriously take them out of box sets, reorder them, and put them back in. It's seriously, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so let's see, where are we? What's going on? I'm like farming for iron or something, and oh, there it is. Okay, there's another one up here. Yeah, Zach, it's awful. I feel so bad for innocent children who read The Magician's Nephew first, and like, yeah, I mean, it's. You're right, JJ. I'm sure he's repented of it by now. I probably, if I meet C.S. Lewis in heaven, I probably won't have to fight with him about it, right? Surely he will have made a full repentance by now. Let's see. Where's the other stupid reddish vein of... Am I out of the range now? How many more little veins of ore can I... Okay, there's that one that I just hit. Is there another one around the corner over here? Hiding in the bushes? No? Where'd it go? I did hit this one, right? Yeah, I did. Okay. Let's see. If I could be any one of the main characters in Middle-earth, who would I be? See, now that's very different from saying who is my favorite character. Which I think you guys all know anyway. If I could be one, who would I be? Why is that one still there? I've beaten on it several times. Where are the rest of them? The gaffer. Maybe if I keep hitting this one, it will cease to be worthless. No, still worthless. I don't see any ore up here. Hang on, I'm trying to. I'm kind of thinking about it with a part of my mind, and I'm looking around for unworthless. Ah, troll. Okay, he turned away. Myth of Valar, turn him aside. Is it up here? Are there any up here? Hello? Reddish bits of rock. Darn it. Oh, there's one. I probably already hit these. I think I did. Yeah, these are all the first ones that I hit. Did I miss one of these, or maybe? Did I miss the right one? Let's just do them all again. Whoa. Let's see. Where's the show? No, set as quest guide focus. Okay, that didn't help. Over here. Wandering tree. No ore. Oh, come on, people. Butterbird. That's a really great choice. That's a great choice. I love that. Let me explain why I love that choice. Because think of how well Butterbur is positioned in the Fourth Age too, right? I mean, like the guy who gets to meet everybody. Let's see. I think I would like to be. Oh, hooray! Here it was. Oh, finally. Wait, where are they? Oh, here they come. Hi, pay attention to me too. My first impulse is to say Prince Imrahil. One, because I've always really liked Prince Imrahil. One of my other favorite minor characters is Erkenbrand. Always been a big Erkenbrand fan. And, you know, they're not like kind of in the limelight, you know, exactly. They're kind of on the outskirts of things, but, you know, closely connected to stuff. And, yeah. But Butterbur is a pretty awesome choice because, again, like, when the greenways opened up again, you know, there's going to be a lot of toing and froing up the greenway. Boy, are we running around because poor Kiriana is trying to get away from the stupid troll who won't pay any attention to me? Don't worry, got him. Oh yeah, this troll won't soon escape from the wrath of Gryfflet, I can tell you. Yeah. But yeah, no, Butterbur's a fine choice. Bombadil is cool, but he's a little too detached for me. I don't think I could actually. I don't think I could be Butterbur. I don't think I would succeed in being Butterbur. Or sorry, Bombadil. I don't think I would succeed in being Bombadil. Not but what I don't think it would be a lot of fun to be Bombadil. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, now for silver. Honestly. I think they're I think there could be more annoying quest lines than this. But I've not done one in some time. Well, it's actually not a terrible one to do while answering lore questions, however. Townsman number 17 of Lake Town. Sure. Undercover fishmonger. JJ, I'm insulted by that suggestion, as if I would be someone as disreputable as the undercover fishmonger, right? Come on. I have a higher moral fiber than that. I know. Druid's fire, it's my own fault. Is there a tree up here? I mean, like one that will attack me. Okay, let's see. How far are we? Oh, we're getting there. I'm running into a tree now. This tree, which did no harm to me. Okay. Okay. I'm just kind of curious about where this whole prospecting thing is tending. Like, whom do they report to? So here's what I would be tempted to do, is to like have in the end these prospectors be like, thanks, I'll report all this straight back to Wormtongue like I'm supposed to. Or like Saruman or something. Oh, look, it's Gank! Okay, sure. So we gotta go past Gank. I've been running around in circles so much that I lost track of where I was. I don't want to draw Gank's aggro there. Okay. So we'll keep going up this way towards the silver. The pothole. Really? A pothole. That's interesting. Huh. That hill is also very interesting. The enormous root systems growing out of it. Whoa. This whole hill looks super ominous. Huh. Anyway, alright. Let's see if I can get a little luckier than I did last time. Okay, gray ore. We're fine. Okay, so, sorry, let me, other questions here. Let's see. Okay, oh, sorry. Oh, hey, what's following up? Malar is following up questions about the Magician's Nephew. Okay, when I say the Magician's Nephew is slotted just to close a few plot strings going into the final battle. Otherwise, the presence of Diggory and Polly would not make much sense, nor their parts in the story. No, I don't think so. I think it does. I mean, look, first of all, as always, in why questions, like what was the plan, or, what was his goal in doing this? I can never answer those questions. I have no idea exactly what was in C.S. Lewis's, mind and intentions. Yeah, I'm afraid I need to search your area for gray ore, if that's okay. Oh, you paid attention to me for several seconds, which I value. Don't think of that I don't. I really appreciate people who at least pretend to pay attention to the Hobbit stabbing them in the ankles for a brief time. But anyway, okay, so I don't know why he did it exactly, but one of the things that seems pretty clear is that, the impulse that is most plain is to show the beginnings of things before showing the ending of things, right? There did seem to sort of need that context. I don't feel, Madman Modeler, that he needed it to explain Diggory and Polly being there. I don't think Diggory and Polly would have been there had it not been for, I think they're only there because of the Magician's Nephew, really. So as from a like cause and effect standpoint, oh darn it, I was really hoping that that would be the non-worthless one. Looking around. Oh, this one looks promising. I like the looks of this one. It's near a cliff for trolls to knock me off of. Very attractive. No, darn it! How could you resist that one, trolls? Birch branches. Oh, there's one right down next to the other troll. Oh, right between the troll and the giant spider. Hey, wait for one of them to walk. I'll go all the way back around. Oh, and now the spider moves towards it. Jerk. Did Kieran just aggro the spider? She did. Okay. I will help. I will rescue you, Kiriana. No problem. I won't let the spider destroy you. Because I'm contributing over here. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely don't. It does not seem to me that the cause and effect works that way. That is that like he wanted Diggory and Polly for the last battle, and so he needed to bring them into the. He needed to bring them into. To explain where they came from. Hang on a second. I feel like where was I? I was up here. That's not the ore that I was aiming for originally. That's the one I was aiming for. The one that's closer to that other troll. Let's see if I can get there without aggroing him. Yes. Darn it. I have no idea which ones I've done and which ones I haven't done. I feel like I'm going back over the old ground here. But anyway, so yeah, I think that, the sort of, ooh, found it. Okay. Yeah, again, I think it's mostly the creation sequence that's important. The Magician's Nephew is I think one of the most intricately structured and, in that sense, kind of narratively beautiful books in the Chronicles of Narnia. I love the super intricate sets of parallels that he brings all through that book. From the parallels among the villains, right? That is like the clear parallels between Uncle Andrew and Jadis, and then especially the way that those actually sort of map back, in a sense, onto Diggory. That is, we can see Diggory. Oh, are you kidding? This guy's going to join in the fight from all the way over there. Anyway. It's getting awfully crowded around here. Yes, and the parallels between the their path in the attic and the wood between the worlds. It's just it's all really neat stuff. I think that it all fits together so well. Much more ornate plot structure, as I say, than we see anywhere else, and the way in which that itself sets up the ending of what we see in the last battle. I mean, I think that we wouldn't have the last battle without it. So, okay. Anyway, cool. Yeah, it's okay. Look at other questions if I can do that without losing the trolls. Hang on, no, I'm not fighting you yet. Yeah, no, this is the wounded guy. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. And yeah, good. I see that someone was asking. Phil brought this forward from Exploring the Lord of the Rings. Someone had been asking, do I think that Tolkien actually thought of half the things that we discuss about it? No, I don't. Well, half, maybe. But I would always really, I think it's a really important thing to talk about, actually. A lot of people, I think, mistake... we didn't just drive them off. That was way more than a driving off of the trolls. Oh, wait, no, I found it. I just got to go back to it now. Okay. If you tell me to search for the gold ore... Okay. All right. I was going to say, there's going to be trouble in this gorge. I'm going to turn this pony right around if that has to happen. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the thing. There's a lot of misunderstandings, I think, about what we're doing when we discuss books, particularly in connection to the author, right? Here's the most important. I've talked about this before, but it is sufficiently important that it is worth mentioning again. I used to also have a lot of misunderstandings about this, to be guilty of misunderstandings about this. I used to think that the whole sort of point of discussing literature, like when talking about a book and analyzing it and thinking about it, what I thought I was doing was explaining what the author was getting at, right? That it was like, it's about sort of me and the author, right? Like me trying to figure out what was in the mind of the author. And if I did that, like a good reading was one that made me feel like, okay, I've definitely done that. So, and so that seems to me that assumption is what I hear when I hear that question, right? That is the question of like, do you think that Tolkien thought of half of the things that you're coming to, you're concluding about his book? Seems to imply that sort of the point of doing this is trying to figure out what was in Tolkien's head, right? That is fundamentally not what thinking carefully through books is really about. And let me explain what I mean by that in a minute. I talked to Brid first here.
Our mission is dire.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was easy. Yeah, I know the trolls, they were wimps. Yeah, there were some rich, deep veins, but annoying to find. Okay. Have your deepest gratitude. Oh, you're not even going to tell me whom you're reporting to? Oh, man. Sampling the pain. Uh-huh. Yeah. You can say that again. Whoa. Okay. All right, I just... the heroes of the Limlight Gorge, they really care about the ore, do they? I really impressed them with that, did I? Anyhow, so, okay. So, here's what I mean by that. Again, I used to be really, really resistant to... I think we have to go over here to find the last dwarf, as I recall. Okay, sorry. So, do I have to cross the bridge? Where is he? Yeah, there he is. Okay, good. I used to be really resistant to the idea. Okay. So like I said, I used to think it was all about, ultimately, I used to think it was all about trying to figure out what was in the author's mind. Like, what did he mean by the story? Or rather, what does the story mean? Which I thought, kind of without really thinking it through, sort of thought meant the same thing as what did the author mean by the story? And I used to be very resistant. You may hear, you may have been spared this, but you may, hear literature folks, professors and whatnot, talking about the death of the author and all that kind of thing. And I used to hate that stuff. People talk about authorial intention and whatever. But then I came to understand it a little bit differently. And the pivotal thing for me in this, and I know I've talked about this some before, the pivotal moment for me was reading a C.S. Lewis essay, I think it's on criticism, wherein he says with one very, very simple sentence that he wrote, which is, an author intends, a story means. To find the meaning of the story, or to find meaning in a story, is very much not the same thing as to find out what the author intends. And it's not because the author's intention isn't important or because it's impossible to know. The problem is that it doesn't matter, ultimately. A story can have a meaning that the author didn't intend. Like, the author is not in control of the meaning. They have intentions, authors, right? And it's kind of interesting to learn what those intentions are. But what really matters is the story itself, not the intention of the author. Because again, maybe the author succeeds in this intention, maybe the author doesn't succeed in that intention. To give a really, really simple example, if someone is telling a joke, right? Or rather, someone says something which is really funny, right? If that person wasn't trying to say something funny, it doesn't make the thing any less funny, right? It's still funny, even if they were trying to be serious when they said it. Sometimes it can be even more funny because they were trying to be serious when they said it, right? So the person has said something funny. The impact, like the result, in my experience as listener to what the person said, is that I'm laughing, right? I found it hilarious. So that's what I mean when I say the intention of the author, it doesn't matter, right? The relationship between the book and the reader, in that sense, matters a great deal more. Now, again, it's of interest, right? There is a certain degree of interest in knowing what the author intended, but in a sense, it's sort of theoretical interest or even kind of academic interest. What the book means matters much more. And this has really been the truth of, Lewis's simple statement about intention and meaning, has really been borne home to me the more time I've spent reading books, and I see again and again, books which seem to have way more meaning than their authors meant. Lots of times when an author is really just not like in control of the meaning, right? Like just a story just takes on a life of its own, and the author doesn't even like have a plan. They don't really know what they're doing, right? But it just happens, and it's so beautiful when it happens. And Tolkien has also really shaped my thinking about this too, because of the way that he talks about his own process in writing. It's about discovery, right? I mean, yes, it's planning, and it's not to minimize the work, his role, but ultimately, it's not just about invention. It's about that discovery. There is this meaning. There is this stuff that's out there, right? And to some extent, both the author and the reader are both discovering it. They have different roles in that discovery, but they're both important roles. And so did Tolkien think of half the things that we say? He might have thought of half of them. He might disagree with some of them, but that's okay. I think there are some things I would agree to disagree with Tolkien about. I think it's something I don't think it's things I would fight with him about exactly. But not like I would fight about the Order of the Chronicles of Narnia. But I'm sure there are things that we would disagree about and we could talk about, right? But what we would be doing is not him being like, this is what it means and you're just wrong because I'm the author and you're not, but rather us looking at his text and saying, well, look at what it says here. Doesn't this reading fit, or do you think it doesn't fit? And him trying to explain his side of things, right? And if you notice, this is what he's always doing in his letters. He is always approaching his text like a reader, very rarely from the authoritative position of an author. The only times he does that is when he's inventing new stuff, right? When he's like giving us new material that is not in the published text, which he does sometimes. He'll make up new stuff, but almost always that's world building stuff. Like for instance, when people were asking about more information about Hobbit birthdays, and he goes on to give a great deal more information about like how Hobbit birthdays worked in one of his letters, right? His further world building is often stimulated by answering letters. But he rarely just pulls rank on the story and says, no, this is the meaning of the story. You're wrong about it. Right. Anyway, so I'm not, the fact that I don't think that Tolkien probably intended or was thinking himself of many of the things that we're saying when we're talking, and going through and exploring the Lord of the Rings doesn't trouble me in the least bit. I think it's in the end, it's kind of an irrelevant question. I do think that he thought of many of these things, but not trying to guess what was in his head, just talking about what's there in the story. And there are many things there in the story that he didn't consciously put there, but there they are. Anyway, okay. Let's see. He's stubborn as a stump and half as bright. All right, let's see. You prefer your trees not to be stomping around before you try to chop them? So he just won't listen to you at all, huh? Okay. Quests do we turn in down here?
Woe betide me.
Oh, you have to live with the shame of the defeat by a tree? Okay. It still says there's a quest down here that I can't find. Let's see, what do you still want from me, Armand?
What do you want?
Yeah, I found your companions. Oh, wait, there's Gryfflet I've got to talk to. Oh, where is he? Is he the other quest ring I'm missing? Is he down another level? Where is he? Let's see. Okay, you guys are still discussing this here. Let's see. Some of my English professors took it too far the other way and seemed to think a story could mean anything the reader wanted. Right. Well, JJ, I agree. I agree with your objecting to that. And honestly, I think that was one of the things that I was... Okay, so when I was still in my... objecting to the death of the author thing. How do I get down there? Was there another set of stairs that I missed? Can I swim to it? Is there a dwarf down here at water level? Or is he upstairs on top of the house? Where on earth is Gryfflet? I didn't think there was anything down here. No. Where is the other stupid dwarf? Anyway. He's inside. Okay. Where? So, he's not up here. Oh, wait. Ah! He's cowering over there. Oh, he's making himself small. That's why I didn't see him. Okay.
I just don't know what to do.
Yeah, I totally saw it, man. I'll vouch for you. Phew. Okay. Finally. All right, Dolman.
What do you want?
We have to convince him to give up the venture. Agreed. Armand, you're a moron.
Met.
Okay. You think some beer is going to fix the problem, huh? They just need a good stiffener, do they?
What do you want?
There's nothing more I can do. Okay. Wait a second. There's still quest rings on my mini map, but neither one of them has a quest ring, in fact. All right, I'm just gonna walk away from the quest ring. All right, hang on. Oh yeah, just that one now. Okay. So just the elf quest is the only one that's left now. Fine. Okay, and that bridge is up here, I think, right? Okay. All right, cool. So anyway, sorry, JJ, getting back to your comment. I used to get really annoyed at English professors who spoke as if any story could mean anything, right? Like, so different readers have different reactions, and even the kind of classic English teacher thing, right? Where like, a lot of people operate under the assumption, because it's too often true, that being an English major, like analyzing literature is just like a bunch of BS. Like literally all you have to do is just BS convincingly, and then you've got it, right? Is the bridge down or up? Up. Okay. So like you can say anything you want about any text like that. Nobody can ever tell you that you're wrong. I often, in my college English classes, came across this sort of students who especially freshmen, who would get a little bit outraged when they would say something about a book and I'd be like, no, that's completely wrong. And they'd be like, what? Like, there are no wrong answers. And I'm like, dude, did some teacher ever tell you that there were no wrong answers? Because there are totally wrong answers, right? You can absolutely make wrong answers. You can think anything you want. But it's not true. Okay. Fighting on the slopes of Mount Doom? Nothing I can say can change what happened then. But we can't help you. Oh, come on now. It's been too late for that for a long time now. Are you trying to find the Entwives? All right, hang on. I gotta go back to... I missed the beginning of this conversation, it seems. We were fighting... I was fighting on the very slopes of Mount Doom. But Mount Doom was a long way away from the gardens of the Entwives, presumably. Okay, we must be talking about the Entwives. Greylimb, Thickbark, and Twistroot.
What can I do for you?
I don't suppose it occurred to them just to ask us themselves. Yeah, well, you know, they're a little nervous about elves. The men of Standgard have long held a great fear for our people in their hearts, and in truth we do not discourage this. It helps dissuade them from intruding upon our forests without the need for cumbersome treaties or shows of force. Right. You've come to speak with the ancient Onodrim of Fangorn. I've met several. Yeah. You hope to convince them of the need to rouse themselves from their long peace. Okay. Nice. They already face their own concerns and you can't convince them to aid us. Awesome. I love this. Love this. Do I get to talk to each of them or just the one? Just the one so far. Okay. That the elves of Lorien are coming down, attempting and failing to do what Merry and Pippin are going to succeed in doing, right? That's really cool. That's really cool. Okay. Let's see. I've come in a strange time. We have not had so many guests beneath our boughs in many years, perhaps since I was an Enting. Okay, it's sad then that I come to us with such troubling tales of war, of sorrow, of the ancient enemy returned. I would tell you to go, that my people have already had their fill, all the memories of war that we could ever desire, and many that we would forget. We would remain here in our forests, while such sorrows exhaust themselves in the outside world. That's an interesting way of thinking about it. And we endure. An understandable sort of isolationist rationale from the Ents. But they've already come, or so it seems. My companion Greylimb has fallen ill, and that is a rare thing indeed for my folk. Unless winter should bite so deep that our bark cracks in the cold, something has sickened him in a way we don't understand. And some of the trees have grown ill on the edge of the forest. Some poison has seeped into the very ground beneath our roots, but from where? Okay, now this is a quest. Oh, this is so much better than prospecting for bloody ore. Okay. Would that I felt fit for company, but I fear I am not. Weak as an ancient fir facing his last storm. No, you don't look that old. You hope the beetles don't notice? Oh dear. Something in the roots. That's where it started. A strange tingling in the water. You like to take your drink down by the river each morning, but the trees aren't looking so well. Okay. Oh, same conversation. All right, fine.
What do you need?
Okay, let's see. Okay, you examined Greylimb. You expected to find he had been poisoned. Something dumped in the river. Yeah. But the venom of a creature, huh? I'm going to guess spiders because they're the only ones I haven't been set up against. I've been set up against trolls for the ore folks and trees by the dwarves. Okay. The spiders that hunt the northern edge of the gorge. Uh-huh. What spider would prey upon trees or would dare to prey upon ents?
Might you spare a moment of your time?
Oh boy. Bring samples of spider's venom. I am not going to get to finish this. Okay. We get to attack spiders next week. Alright, and we're going, yes, way up in the north. Alright, well, let's head over there, and I'll finish answering that question before. So, okay. So, as I was saying, I used to tell students all the time, of course there are right and wrong answers in literary interpretation. I mean, of course there are. And in exactly the same way that there are right and wrong answers in science. That is, okay, so when you're a scientist and you're making, like, how do you draw conclusions and how do you know whether your conclusions are right or wrong, right? Well, it's easy. What you do is you collect data and then you examine multiple theories and see which theories fit the data set the best, right? And it's not black and white often. Sometimes it can be black and white. I love seeing the Kuthstan in the distance, right? From some random angle, and all of a sudden there it is. Sometimes it's testable and you can absolutely rule out a certain theory from the data, right? And it's always kind of exciting when you can actually accomplish that. But that's not often the case. Often you have, multiple theories that will fit the data tolerably well, or will fit some data really well and some not, a little bit more uncertainly. You can come up with several different models that will fit the data, right? That's exactly what we do when we talk about books. We have data, right? What the book actually says, and the concrete sets of observations that we can make about the book and what happens and what people say, right? We collect our data and then we draw conclusions from that data, and there can be multiple theories, right? There can be multiple readings that fit the data that you have, and sometimes it's possible absolutely to rule some things out. Sometimes it's not possible absolutely to rule things out, and you just have to kind of go with what you think is the best. But sometimes things can be like, it's just a particular theory will simply not stand up to all the data. It just does not fit. Like when you are collecting data and plotting them on a graph and trying to fit them to a particular data curve or something like that, and it just, like, particular curves won't fit at all on those curves. So we might as well kill this spider again, and then we'll call it a day. So reading literature is no different. Like, it's exactly like that. The only thing that makes it different is that the data set involved is more complicated. It's just flat harder to draw conclusions, certainly, because the data itself is wickedly. I mean, literally, language is complicated, right? Words that have multiple meanings and different implications that it can take in certain contexts, and the complexity of the patterns and the way all of the different ideas and concepts fit together. It's not like usually the data set that you can start with in whatever science it is that you're doing. Often that initial data set is, or at least can be, simpler, right? There is no such thing as a simple data set, really, when you're trying to draw conclusions about a book, because language and communication in all forms is intrinsically complicated. But anyway, this is why there are totally right and wrong answers, right? But it's also why the intention of the author. So JJ, when I too used to push back against that, like total relativism. Like, if this is what the book means to you, that's okay. Well, like, it may be okay. Like, yeah, you can think or feel whatever you want to think or feel. But at the end of the day, you can't convince anyone else about it, and you can't say that this, I think that this like is what this book means, because you can be proved wrong, right? I mean, and because there are, objective conclusions that you can draw. That is, I mean, you can't be totally objective, but there are some things that can be just like in science. You can rarely prove something, but you can disprove things, right? You can say this is totally not what is happening in that book. Anyway, that this is what I would say about that question of intention, and it's not. So I do also reject any kind of absolute relativism of interpretation. It's not about that. It's not about interpreting literature is not a squishy thing. It's just a super complicated process of inductive reasoning, like any scientific analysis. But because it's so complicated, it's harder to come up with objectively, anything like an objectively provable conclusion, because it's so complicated you can't really be objective about it. But anyway, okay, that was a lot of theory today. I wasn't really planning to do that. Anyhow, I better go so my kids aren't left. It's a cold day today, so I don't want to leave my kids on the sidewalk. Thanks everybody for joining me today. I will return. I think I'm going to leave Gryfflet right here, so that when I log back into the game, I will be like appearing like between the mandibles of a giant spider. That seems like a good plan. So yeah, that's just what I'll do. Anyway, okay. Thanks everybody for joining me. I will see you guys again next week. I should be here pretty much through Christmas week. Not quite sure what's happening, like right during the holiday season, but I'll be here for the next several weeks in a row. We're done. We're finally done with the fall moot season and everything, and so I'm here through Christmas. So thanks everybody for joining me today, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.